What's up? Congrats on the film. Nice to meet
Hey,
you
Thank
all.
you.
Big Schmidt, nice to meet you, man. What's up? Congrats on the film. It's very nice to meet you both.
Thank you.
You're not putting me in a home.
What if it were our home?
Grandpa!
Jenny!
Hi, Grandpa.
Hello, sweetheart. She gave me my grandson's room. He's not too happy about it.
How do you like your room?
Kid looking. I didn't want it to be this way either.
This film, given the whole prank war and rivalry with a young man, it obviously reminded me of your boy Pesci in Home Alone. I was wondering if that was something that hit you all at all when you were first reading the script.
No, I'll be honest with you. I never saw Home Alone.
It's great.
So I
classic.
I mean, I would see it. I just didn't. So maybe I'll see it with one of my kids. Can I see it with one of my kids, my younger kids?
Oh,
8, 9 years old?
absolutely.
It is very Home Alone-esque for sure.
Right.
It's
It is.
which I love about it.
Okay.
Do you ever think about like visiting a young Rob, fresh in the industry, super intimidated, and being like, hey, it's cool. One day Uma Thurman is going to be your wife and Robert De Niro is going to be your father-in-law.
I would have loved to have done that because I might have calmed myself down back when I was struggling to get rent. So yes, that would have definitely helped with anxiety.
Well, throughout your career, you've worked with the biggest comedians in the world, right? Through UCB and SNL and The Daily Show. I'm wondering what the difference is between working with people that have chops like that and then working in a comedic film like this with these serious, dramatic, Oscar-nominated actors. How does that compare?
Well, the good thing is they're all professionals, and De Niro doesn't get nearly enough credit for his comedy chops. I mean, he knows what's funny and he knows why it's funny, and so he knows how to play that. You know, he's not afraid to look foolish. I think comedy, you got to be willing to look foolish. If you're not willing to look foolish, it's a hard sell, and that's a lot of vulnerability, to look foolish. And so that's why they say comedy's hard. Tragedy or drama's easy, to whatever they say. Anyway, all the actors were very professional, and they all did a great job. So they know comedy, they know why things are funny, and they can pull stuff off. I had no doubt about anybody in the cast. They were all awesome.
I'm wondering what you think it is about a lighthearted comedic family flick like this that attracts such a massive and impressive cast.
Well, for me and maybe Cheech, we have children and grandchildren, so we can actually relate to the material, and it was well written, and the opportunity to work with one another was pretty huge. And we made this a couple of years ago, but in a funny way, even though it didn't come out when it was originally supposed to, the fact it's coming out now just warms my heart, because this is what we need. We need, good, clean, charming, belly laugh fun that appeals to all age groups. You've got the grandparents, the parents, and the kids, and each one of them, is really represented in this film in a very funny way.
To work with all these great actors, and like, okay, I mean, it's like, jamming with Jimi Hendrix or something. You better be able to play drums, So,
yeah.
So it was wonderful.
Yeah, what an awesome friend group Christopher Walken, Cheech, Marin, and Robert De Niro is. Like, I mean,
kept asking myself, how are these guys friends? What forces brought these guys together?
Yeah, I just, the idea of playing somebody who worked at Best Buy in my Best Buy outfit was my first day, and I was a little nervous. Do I have the character? How am I going to work with De Niro? And he keeps himself a little bit private, so I thought, well, I don't want to crowd him. So I walked around a bit, and about 5 people came up to me with returns and repairs. And, and then they said, we need you on set, Jane, with Mr. De Niro. And I said, well, I've got 5 clients. What am I going to do? I find the manager and pass them on. So it was really funny.
So let me get this straight. You want me to help you and your buddies, to help beat up your grandson and his buddies because the two of you can't figure out some way to live in the same house?
Well, when you put it like that.
I'm in.
I think it's a synergy of a lot of things. I think it's the director. I think it's the script. I think it's the fellow cast members. And can you see yourself in whatever role, you know, you're playing? Can you see yourself executing it? Can you see yourself like, oh, I can do this. I can play this guy. I know this guy. I'm familiar with this guy, or I've got an idea about how I want to play this guy. And if you can bring that, if you can answer those questions satisfactorily, yeah, you want to do it.
The attic? No way!
Come on, buddy. Don't make this harder than it already is. It's the only choice.
Besides, your sisters already share a room.
Yeah, well, Sarah told me you said that.
Christmas
No,
time
I know she
is
exaggerates,
here.
but...
Happiness
No, you stop. Hold on.
and cheer.
Shh.
What was that like for you as a young actress with such an all-star cast?
I mean, listen, to be honest, with a cast like this, I think it would be an important part in any time of my career because it's a pretty awesome cast. But yeah, you know, it's funny, we filmed this film roughly 3 years ago. And so now even looking like I'm not playing as young of roles as teenagers now, I'm a little bit older. I think to me, when I found out who was in this cast, I was immediately attracted to the project and immediately excited by the prospect of working with everyone. And to be honest, working with everyone did not disappoint. It was so incredible to watch everyone, to talk to Bob and Uma. And, you know, I didn't work a lot with Cheech and Chris. I didn't work with Jane either, but Jane and I somehow would hang out all the time. She's awesome. But when I met Chris at the table read, I truly was like, this is the most surreal moment of my life.
I think your grandpa might be a ninja. We gotta end this somehow.
Santa's dead!
Did you see that?
Oaks, given that, you know, you're working with De Niro and as a film buff, just like any other film buff, you know, Casino and Goodfellas and some of these classics are some of my favorite films of all time. I was wondering, as a young man, are you allowed to see those? Have you seen those films?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely probably haven't seen all of them, but I think my favorite would be Taxi Driver.
You talking to me?
I think there is some incredible work in the past that is definitely fun to look back at. And I'm lucky to be surrounded by parents that push older films on me and encourage me to look at things like that, because I believe makes me a better, more just knowing what's out there and knowing what the history is.
I gotta say, the thing that our viewers responded most to in the trailer was that dodgeball scene.
Do you guys even remember how to play dodgeball?
Sure you don't need your diaper changed?
Sure you don't?
Were you just wasted after that scene?
Terrified more than anything.
It was something I've never done before, and I'm not used to throwing balls and anything like that. I did ballet, so the idea of being able to jump up and down on a trampoline and have some sense of balance, I thought I managed, but you know, it's much harder than it looks.
I jumped as little as I possibly could.
Right.
I was definitely sore, but I was too proud to let anyone know.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned the willingness to look foolish. One of my favorite comedy bits of all time is you and Hubel on the bit from Super High Me, the cops.
That's a pound of grass. Street value, $2 million. $2 million!
That is just such a clear representation of not thinking, and you know, that improv is just, I can't. That's one of my favorite things ever. So how does that compare to something like comedic acting? Is there still a level of just letting yourself go?
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's so funny you mentioned that. I hadn't thought about that for so long. I think that was 420. I think that was a 420 show down at the UCB.
Yeah.
And honestly, Hubel and I said, hey, let's go do something they're doing a show down at the UCB. Let's go down and do something. All right. So we show up, we get in the green room, and quite literally, this is about 10, 15 minutes before we're supposed to go on. And we do, what do you want to do? That's literally, we're just sitting in the green room. What do you want to do?
I love
it. Let's be narcos. Let's be like high school narco cops.
Myself and Rob Riggle are officers, undercover officers.
And we'll just talk about the dangers of weed. And we were like, all right, cool. And then the rest was straight up improv. That was all the planning we did. And you know, Hubel's an improv genius. We've been doing improv together for 20 years. So we know each other really well. We used to do a 2-man show together. And so that was a blast. And that literally was, I hadn't even thought about that forever because we did the show. And then when you do improv, you forget about it because you can't remember what you said.
Sure, yeah.
So you let it go. And film can be the same way. You have a script to work off of. You have to do it as scripted because that's what the studio paid for. But if your director and your fellow actors are willing to play, then you can play a little bit and have some fun. Sometimes they're not, and that's okay. You know, you stick to the script and do it. You know, execute that too. But
yeah, that question
on the production.
That question was really just an excuse for me to talk to you about that Hubel bit. So I'm really glad that you told me that story. I love it so much. You should go back and watch it. It holds up.
That's awesome.
I want to put up with this, Pete. I demand my room back, or else it's war.
Declaration of war. Give me back what is mine, or face the consequences. Okay. You got your wish.
What the?
Fast drying foam sealant. I'm gonna get this kid.